Hello and welcome to Echoes of Legend Unleashing Barghests. This is our actual play campaign running using my own obsession system and also my own world of Cathona, which hopefully one day I'll actually publish. With me, as always, are Chrono Magistrate, Draticup, also known as Linda, and Muskie, also known as Alia. I thought I'd mention both of those names in both of those cases because I didn't want to confuse people when I inevitably chop and change how I refer to you during the game.
I thought you were just respecting our professional identities.
Well, I do respect your professional identity. Unlike me, you're actually published by someone else. I'm only published by myself, so
I'm not
so
published
puts
at
you
all.
way ahead of me.
Look,
Okay.
I was just at a magic convention last weekend, and it's so hard when you do know people's real names and their online handles, and which needs to be used in which circumstance.
Yeah.
I will, I have a thing of, I sometimes sort of mention who I know around some of my other friends, and then I'm like, don't say Chrono. Don't say Chrono, say Anil. Because, again, I don't call you Anil, ever.
Yep.
No, weirdly enough, Chrono is easier than my real name, despite the fact that
I never touch your last name. Fuck no.
I only do
Even
because
that,
I've heard you say it, and I needed to run up.
Even first name, people genuinely find it easier to say Chrono or Chrono Magistrate than they do Anil or Anil.
Yeah. I think I had the advantage that I heard you saying it before I ever saw it written down. So I didn't have to try and figure out how it was said.
Yes, exactly. I'm now, however, wondering how else it gets said, frankly.
Well, there's one obvious one that springs to mind that I hope.
Well, yes, I wasn't going there.
Yeah. That was the childhood nickname one. Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, anyway, since we're late anyway, let's play a game. A brief story so far. Our three protagonists have travelled by ship from Kundheim to the new frontier of Geredrasal, arriving in the port city of Calwyn's Bay. This is neither the finish nor start of any of their stories. Sharan, the first, is about as Kundheimer as they come, being the product of intermarriage between the greater Kundheimers of the main continent and the islanders of Lesser Kundheim. Known in their own cultural history as Vinrir, a raiding culture who, at least in their own mythology, may have been the first people to discover Geredrasal, Lesser Kundheimers take their name from the smaller geographical stature of their home, and not from any inherent inferiority to their mainland cousins. At least that's what the Lesser Kundheimers will tell you. Talk of those mainland cousins brings us to Corvin, our second protagonist. Corvin is a greater Kundheimer, a hunter and bowman seeking new experiences. Last, but certainly not least, we have Ezra, also known as Ez. Ez is a Lunman, a descendant of the Imperial Assyrians who once conquered most of the known world. Ez is a brawler, a scrapper, and at times a street rat, perhaps as far from their Imperial heritage as a Lunman can be, despite that not being their birth. Each of these people were brought by their ongoing travels to the ship which brought them to Calwyn's Bay, and once there they intervened to prevent a middle-aged Lunman named Bebius Tolor being robbed. Tolor rewarded them and offered them further work, both paying them to escort him to his next destination and promising to put in a good word with his friend Amius, should any of them wish to work on that Lunman emigre's farm. I'm just going to break the narrative for a moment to say that I hadn't realised autocorrect shafted me during that, because according to what is actually written here, because I wrote this on my phone, he's paying you to escort him to his next detonated, which makes less sense. All of which brings us to the important bookkeeping element of Ezra's bonus XP, earned for the short piece of fiction telling how they broke their nose. So add 1 XP to Ez, and remember that you can all earn up to 3 XP for writing elements of your character background for me. And,
mine's depressing, and I think was directed by John Carpenter.
The intention here is to have these recorded, whether by you, the players, or by me. We want to get these recorded and added to the YouTube playlist as just additional little bits about the characters to add a bit more for those who are following the campaign. So, before I jump in, is there anything that you have thought of since the last session that you want to prepare before heading out to escort Bebius to the village of Salcoast, which is on the western side of the bay and a little way south of Kelwyn's Bay?
I do not believe for Corwin I did my shopping before at the end of last session.
You picked up arrowheads and things like that. Joan picked up some... actually, we kind of retconned that Joan had already created a sap.
Yeah. Joan is trying to find her character sheet, to be honest. It's
That
still going to
always
get very
helps.
conceptual. There we go.
I'll tell you what,
close the tab
I'll
out.
start you on your journey, and then we'll hope you found a character sheet by the time you want to make a roll. So, what I'm doing with this is
Close enough.
I've used my Hexploration mechanics to create points of interest along the journey. And what I've done is I've fully written out the first 2 hours worth of travel, which is from Kelwyn's Bay to what's known as the Bay Bridge, which can be seen on the map just west of Kelwyn's Bay. It's actually north-northwest of Kelwyn's Bay when you zoom in far enough. Beyond that point, I am instead going to just move on to what I've pre-rolled all of the Hexploration mechanics, but I'm going to go on to determine exactly what you encounter as we get there. And I'm going to, at that point, after this first introduction section, ask for input from the players. You are not required to give me any input, but I'll tell you what you encounter at each stage. And if you think of something interesting, I'll use that instead of coming up with something for myself. So you can get a bit of player input. And I can basically use your brains to create stuff that will be an official part of this campaign setting once it's been established. You have been told that 2 hours will take you to the Bay Bridge, so you gird up and set out at a brisk but sustainable walk, heading north-northwest. As you leave the city proper, you pass a small group of what you now know to be Bay Marines, harassing a small merchant caravan, investigating the contents of the 3 small wagons and looking intimidating. They pay no attention to you, however, presumably fulfilling their mandate of concern for the defence of the city. That which is leaving can hardly be a threat, but what is coming into the city, particularly from upriver, may be. Now, with each thing that I mention as I'm going through this narrative, don't feel you have to sit and wait for me to read the whole narrative and then respond. This is 2 hours of travel with a number of things that you will see along your travel. If you want to interact with any one of them, just interrupt me and let me know, and we will deal with that. So, if you want to talk to the guards or you want to talk to the merchants, then there they are. You can do that. If you don't want to, I will move on. You've been...
Just out of interest, can you give me the merchants again?
As in the one we're accompanying, or
Yeah.
There wasn't much of a description. It's a small caravan consisting of 3 small wagons and probably 4 or 5, let's say 5 individuals, a wagoner for each wagon, and then a couple of guys who must be in charge. And they're just bringing goods down from the Bay Bridge into the city. It looks like these Bay Marines are essentially checking them for customs purposes, but it's hard to say for certain. They're poking through the wagons, making sure there's nothing there that might be a danger to the city, and probably also making a note of what kind of value they're worth, so that those people who are responsible for customs, which isn't technically them, can do something about it.
As for Bebius, are we taking are we escorting like a cart or a caravan of some kind, or is it just him on his horse, sir?
It is just him. He's not even on a horse, in fact.
Oh, okay. So we're a walking party. Okay.
You're all walking. You are a walking party. He's got a sturdy pack, which the gentleman from the bank has helped him to put together the gear that he needs. He essentially had sent word in advance of what his plans were, so they had that all ready for him. And the only thing that needed to be obtained between yesterday when he arrived and today when you set out is anything like provisions, which obviously want to be obtained fresh at the time. So those would have probably come from the inn and just tucked into the top of the pack, and everything else is all ready to go. He does have a walking stick, just to aid him in his hiking. He's in fairly good condition. He doesn't need a stick to walk with, but it is just for hiking purposes.
Sugar.
No, he doesn't have any sugar.
Oh no. Oh no.
No.
Oh dearie me.
Have dice gone errant?
I may have opened my dice case the wrong way up.
Upside down?
Ah.
No.
I am just endeavouring.
In addition to a game stream, this is an educational stream. So let that be a lesson to you, viewers. Don't open your dice boxes upside down.
No, it's fine. I've only got 8 poly sets in there.
Oh, no.
I only wanted the dice tray.
Oh, dear.
Okay, sorry. Apologies. I'll just let me get these flattened down again.
Okay.
I've saved
So while
it from
you're
dropping,
doing that,
but yeah.
Unless you specifically want to interact with these people more than just looking at what's going on.
I'm just paying
will move
attention.
on
I don't
while
want
you're
to
doing that.
interact necessarily. What I am doing is I am paying attention to the security and the level of scrutiny handed out by the customs working officials.
Okay, so these aren't, there aren't actually any customs officials here. This is a patrol of Bay Marines.
Yeah, hence I said customs working.
Yeah, from your observation of their interactions with these merchants, you would say this is not necessarily standard policy. It might be that the Marines have got some reason to distrust these people and are checking their wagons. It might just be that they're bored, but it doesn't seem like they check every wagon coming in. The way the merchants are talking is very much of the, well, why are you checking our wagons? Nobody checked when we came in last time. What's this about? And the Marines are just doing our job, sir. Just ensuring the safety of Calwyn's Bay. You could have dangerous flammables in here.
Okay,
Or
I am
magics.
paying attention. I am paying attention to them just to try and get an idea of what level of security and what level of searching they're likely to do.
Okay, so the main bit of information that you get from this is that these particular merchants appear to have come downriver from Riverfork. You've vaguely heard of Riverfork as being sort of halfway between here and the cities of the Peak's Edge. And the impression that you get is very much that they are concerned about things that come from the Peak's Edge. So not necessarily, you don't see any other groups coming through, so you can't confirm this by watching them ignore such people. Okay. But the impression you get is that groups coming in from the towns and farms down here on the coast by Calwyn's Bay are not subjected to this level of scrutiny. But the Peak's Edge is the true frontier region, and also is the region where an awful lot of dungeon adventuring takes place. So who knows what kind of strange things people might bring out of ancient ruins and then drag down to Calwyn's Bay, drawing danger with them. But also, a lot of it does seem to be that the Marines are just bored and taking the opportunity to poke at something.
Okay.
You suspect that if you were bringing anything in and looked local as much as anything, and particularly if you brought them in at the same time as a group obviously coming from upriver, then you may well get ignored should you wish to bring any illicit goods into the city yourself, which I can see you potentially wanting to do. If only illicit goods in the form of people hiding in a wagon with swords and spears. Ms. Wannabe Pirate.
No, Pirate Queen. Who's Queen?
Okay.
Me.
So you've been marching for a little over an hour when you're surprised to find the ground changing under your feet. The rocky coastal land gives way to soil, and you walk for a few minutes on a path running between two verdant flowering beds. The perfume of the area and the gentle buzz of insects visiting the blooms lifts the mood of the morning, and the walk seems easier for a little while. Bebius, you notice, is particularly heartened by this, as if he may have been having doubts about his decision to come to the new frontier until encountering this pastoral pleasantness. Unfortunately, the mood does not last. Shortly after you leave the flower beds behind, the wind picks up and seems almost to be deliberately blowing right into your faces. In the mild struggle against these new conditions, you lose whatever time advantage the morale boost may have earned you. Nevertheless, you press on until, looking ahead, you see 3 people, a man, a woman, and a small girl coming up the road towards you. They have the look of common peasants, farm workers perhaps, and are heavily weighed down with crudely lashed together bundles of possessions. Even the little girl is struggling to pull a small sledge of what must be the family's lighter goods.
Why? Okay, these people I'm interested in. What are they running away from? I mean, that's Zoran's immediate assumption, is that if somebody is travelling like that, they're running from something.
Yeah,
So
but
they're just-
it's the same.
They're just trudging down the road towards you, clearly coming from the bridge.
Yeah.
Hard to tell from looking at them whether they've just come off a boat or whether they've maybe crossed the bridge and come from somewhere on the western side. But they're not really equipped or dressed for travel. They do,
Yeah.
as you suspect, as you suggest, look like they've just packed up their stuff and lit out in a hurry to get away from wherever they were.
As they come past us, Zoran's actually going to smile and do a greeting and sort of, hi there. Bear in mind, by the way, we also have, although he is not talking, my Partik, my 15-year-old brother.
Yes, I keep forgetting
With the party.
Partik. I really must actually
Everyone forgets
put
Partik.
more effort into remembering that he's there. I do apologise.
Partik is basically my shadow.
Mm.
He has security. He has issues.
The point
I
is
think
to
I'm
forget
going
he's
to roll.
there.
Everyone forgets he's there. I think he's going to be a ninja when he grows up.
Okay.
Yes, so I will
Make
greet
mental note
the...
to turn Partik into a ninja at first opportunity.
Well, he's an archer at the moment, so yeah. Well, I say archer at the moment. He's a shooty person.
He has a
at
bow.
the moment.
Yeah.
He has a bow. Yeah. He also has an overprotective sister. So yeah, I will greet the mother, I think. Which will probably piss the father off, but never mind. And smile at the kid, because Zoran can be
Okay.
quite sociable when she puts her mind to it. So you look like you're having a hard journey.
Oh, good afternoon, mistress. I'm not used to all this walking. I'm really not. Is it far to the city?
By the city, you mean?
Calvin's Bay. Calvin's Bay proper, the city.
Right, that was actually in character because she suddenly had a. Is there somewhere bigger immediately next to us?
No, that was a perfectly reasonable thing for a newcomer to the area to say. Yeah.
Yeah. It's only been a couple of hours, hasn't it?
An hour and a bit.
It's about an hour and a half, maybe.
We left there this morning, nearly 2 hours ago. It's not too far. If you're tired, it's
See,
probably worth a
Mesha?
rest
The
and
man
then
says.
let out.
Yeah, the man speaks up, saying, "See, Mesha, not long to go now. Then I just hope we can find an inn somewhere." She looks at him slightly worriedly when he says this.
I take it you aren't from there. You don't know where you're going?
No, mistress, she says. We're from west of the Transo. We're moving to the city, at least for now. And I hope if we can find a job there, then we'll stay in the city. If not, we'll move on and try one of the towns or villages to the east.
Word of advice: keep your hand on your purse. Anything you have of value. There's some rough characters in there, and they seem to be pouncing on those new in town.
And the Marines don't do much.
We have little enough of worth, mistress. At this, the father sort of. It's pointless of him to whisper this because you're standing right next to him and you can hear it perfectly well anyway. But he kind of like hisses in a whisper. There's no need to tell them that.
I take it. Sorry. Is there some trouble that you're leaving from this rough area or something? Since we're going in the same direction you're coming from, if there's anything that's likely to come rampaging out in Egypt, so interested.
The two adults look at each other as if trying to work out what they should say, which unfortunately leaves a gap for the little girl to pipe up in the way that children do with a loud and enthusiastic, "Daddy says there's a monster."
Oh, 30 now.
Jarvan is going to go straight down to eye level with the kid. Because in her background, of course, she left behind effectively a little group of Baker Street irregular types that she was training up as thieves before she decided that probably leaving was a good idea. And damn assassins. And she's going to address the kid. Ooh, what kind of monster?
Corwin just raises an eyebrow at the parents. He's not saying anything because he's leaving this to Sharon.
Okay. Yeah, so the little girl looks up at her father and then looks back at him and says, "Daddy wouldn't tell me." At which point he then speaks up. "We've not seen it, but folk to the west are talking of some kind of creature killing livestock. It's only a matter of time before it has a go at people. It's just not safe west of the Tranthal anymore."
Smart move.
My companion here has some knowledge of wild beasts and such. Looking straight at...
He looks around your group, taking in the fact that two of you are carrying bows, and that you're moderately well equipped for travel. You know, you've got packs with bits and pieces of gear. And is that where you're going, to hunt the beast?
Well, so it's not why we left, but certainly wouldn't avoid doing it.
What do the stories say of this beast?
Give us the goss.
Well, I've not heard much, just enough to worry me. We don't normally see dangerous creatures around here. This area has been tamed for 50, 60 years now. But something has come, whether down out of the peak's edge or east from the barbarian lands, something's come and is killing livestock. Nobody's seen more than a shadow. It always strikes at night. But it's killed more than it's taken, is what I've heard. That it always takes at least one and leaves another dead behind it.
Oh.
What kind of a creature kills when it doesn't want to eat what it's killed?
She's going to resist the temptation to say people. But,
Have you seen the results of this creature yourself?
I haven't, no. But things are getting bad. It's getting more dangerous, and well, my old employer, he lost enough livestock that he's starting to let people go. We thought we'd leave while we had a choice before it was forced on us.
Ah.
So you're
Right,
farm
that makes more
workers.
sense.
Whereabouts was the farm you were working on?
Down south a little bit. Not so far as Salcoast. There's a wood to the south. The road passes a wood, and the farm I worked on was just on the opposite side of the road to the wood.
Okay.
Okay.
Taking us 3 days to get here.
Okay.
So
Good to know.
is this further or closer than?
So on the map, which
where
one
we're
of
going.
those two between the bridge and Ketchton is Salcoast?
And would you mind me showing that?
Okay, so yeah, I will reshare the map. Yes,
Both of you.
there we
Thank
go.
you.
That should reshow you.
Very big. Okay.
Okay, so on the
Much
map in
appreciated.
Fantasy Grounds, this is Salcoast.
Okay, right. And
It is the
presumably
first village that you're coming to. So what he's talking about would be this
Is
woods
that-
here,
yeah.
and the farm would be just over here.
So yeah, it's on the way.
Yeah, you are passing that area on your route down to Salcoast.
And you work at a farm. It's not your farm.
No, I was just paid to do whatever the master needed doing.
what was the name of your master in case we encounter him?
Curse you, I need a name now.
Even the best prepared of GMs can be shafted when the players go, "Oh, this sounds interesting."
Yes, I'll admit it. I didn't bother naming his the farmer because I wasn't even sure you'd stop and talk to these people. However, he's going to have a
come
nice
on.
Garedrasali name because that means I don't need to make sure that it works in any of the languages that I have got naming notes for. Garedrasali tends to be a mix of bit of Lunman, bit of Kundaima, bit of Heratali, and they blend together. So if you ever come up with a name for someone in this setting that does not fit with the structure of those names, that'll be why. His name is Feroin. I mispronounced that horribly. Feroin, it would actually be pronounced.
Feroin.
That may actually even be a legitimate Heratali name. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
It's conceivable. This is murmured to the companions, and primarily to party, that a farmer might be willing to pay in order to be rid of something that's killing his livestock.
I imagine most
Just a
would.
thought. And give you something interesting to collect for your sketchbook.
Something interesting to punch, perhaps.
He
Yes,
won't say
punching
anything
is
until you
always an
move
option.
on. I'm not saying you are now moving on. You have, if you want to say more, then do so. But after you do move on, Bebius will then turn to you and say, "At least he didn't say that the farm belonged to Ammius."
Fish, any chance I can have a go at a sleight of hand just before they go? I'm not actually saying anything else.
Yes.
I would
Have a go at
like.
sleight of hand. What are you handing slightly?
I would like to do the pulling a coin out of your ear thing with the little girl.
Yeah. Okay. You're already down
'Cause I
there
have-
on her level because you crouched down to talk to her when this
'Cause
began,
I've got-
and you didn't say anything about standing up again. So
No, I have prestidigitation pickpocket. I reckon that's actually a reasonably decent skill for it.
yeah. Now it's the wrong speciality
Yeah.
because your speciality is in pickpocketing, whereas what you want here is sleight of hand. But you can use half of your pickpocket skill.
Rounds down, doesn't it?
It does round down, although
Straight skill roll then.
if it's rounding down to 0, then we'll stick with using the optional rule. I'm only really going to do it when you
50-50.
round down to 0, as you have a 50-50 chance of getting a skill, a point for this roll only.
Okay.
So feel free to roll that however you want to roll it.
No. No.
Okay, so
58
just
or
a straight
85 did
agility
not
roll
work.
then.
Yeah, straight agility roll then. Okay. And my agility is... I'm live filling in my character sheet, by the way. I apologise for this.
Yeah, there's
So,
only
yes,
attributes on the character sheet in Fantasy Grounds
I
at the
know.
moment. I still haven't got the skills set up.
I know. I'm just thinking I can get it into one file instead of 4. Agility is 4. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, you've got a reasonable chance here. So base threshold number is 4, meaning you need to roll 5 or higher.
Okay.
There are tweaks that you can make to that if you wish to. So, for example, you can always make a roll harder than it needs to be if you want, for the purpose of making it impressive or harder to follow. The basic roll is a basic sleight of hand. If you choose to increase the threshold number, then it'll be harder for anybody to follow what you're doing. In this instance, nobody's really trying to follow what you're doing anyway, but that is a standard rule. You can always use that.
I am going to try and make it harder, purely because I want to practice. And I am going to conceal that I am slipping a silver shilling out of my purse. In order to perform this. So I am trying to do it very covertly.
So in that case, what I'm going to do, I am actually going to treat that, from what you've said, as a dual action.
Okay.
Because you are both slipping a coin out of your purse and also doing the sleight of hand to make it appear that you've got it from behind her.
Yeah, I'm not Lucifer. I'm not constantly playing with the coin.
Yeah. So since you're trying to do that fairly quickly, we'll count that as a dual action. That you're basically using the same movement both to retrieve the coin and display it, which means it's going to be 2 rolls, but each of them is going to be at a threshold number of 6. So you need 7s and up.
I need 7s.
But you will only need 1 success on each of these 2 rolls, but you will have to roll twice.
Right, let's get the palming roll done first. Which, yay for 10s. Do they explode, remind me?
10s explode. They only explode once, but they will explode. So that's a success, and you can roll it again.
Okie dokie, I'm up to 2 successes, and one of those exploded. And for my second roll...
Since you don't have any other use for the extra
an
success,
explosion.
I was going to say, since you don't have any other use for the extra success, I will let you treat that extra success as a +1, carry it forward into the next roll, and get an extra die on the actual magic trick.
Yeah. Okay, she got 2 successes on the magic trick.
Okay, so yeah, you needed 1 to successfully do it. 1 extra over the top of that is not a massive amount, but you didn't fumble it. It was done fairly smoothly. And since this is a little girl that you're attempting to impress with it, and they are not known for being particularly difficult to impress with magic tricks, no children are. Her eyes go wide as you make a silver coin appear seemingly out of nowhere from behind her ear. And then the hand goes up, feeling at her ear. You're not sure whether it's that she's protecting her ear or looking to see if there's another one behind there.
I will hand it over to her.
Oh, yeah, well, that she will... The eyes go even wider as she takes the coin and promptly displays it proudly to her parents. The man persuades her that maybe he should look after it for her until they're in the city, because she wouldn't want to lose it. But again, both of those also are looking almost stunned that you've just handed them a coin. By the way, you are slightly being underpaid. I undervalued you when you worked out your payment for this journey.
Right.
But it's it's friends and family discount for Bebius. He helped you out. You helped him out. It's all.
Yeah.
So a farm worker like these would probably make roughly 2 silver coins per day, but most of that wouldn't be in coin.
Yeah.
They would get 2 silver coin in value, so that would include the accommodation that they would probably have on the farm and being fed and things like that. They wouldn't see a great deal in the way of coinage. But even so, that's half a day's wages that you have just given to their daughter. So, they... the woman in particular looks almost tearful as you hand over this coin, and will quietly but effusively thank you.
Jarvan likes children and has the whole background thing of growing up parentless, so likes to take care of children where possible, whilst also trying to be hard as nails. But as the coin's handed over to the dad, which I assume is what's happening, she will say, "Towards your accommodation."
Ezra will turn and kneel down to the kid and just go, "Stay out of trouble, kiddo," and promptly get back up and move on.
Where's the
fun in I haven't mentioned before whether I was going to be using this rule, but this is Obsession, which is one of the games that I originally created it for. So, yep. For that little encounter, I am going to award you a brownie point die. Yay. So you have a D4 brownie point die.
These are use on my prestidigitation.
And because you did something that was higher than the normal TN5, you do get a use. You only get one because you can only get one per situation like this. So even though you made 2 rolls, it's still just the one use.
Sure. Before we head off, I just ask, is Mustfarin's farm the only one in that area, or are there a couple around?
It's a farming area. There are plenty of farms around there. What I've heard is that they've all lost livestock.
Okay.
I don't know how far ranging, but certainly the ones around there have.
Thank you for that. Maybe there's something we can look at once we are done in Salcoast.
Okay.
Turn to the others. Shall we press on then?
Absolutely.
Good idea.
Right. You carry on
as we
up the road.
I should remember to Arctic. You might want to string the bow just in case something wild and teethy comes towards us.
Given the circumstances, which is that you're in a civilized area and he's not expecting to be using it, his bow is probably completely unstrung. What he will do is he'll do that thing where he attaches it at one end and just slips a loop down on the other end. So it's ready to be strung in a hurry from there, but it's not actually going to. Yeah, it's not actually going to be damaging
under
it
tension,
by keeping it strung over a long time. Yeah, that's the under tension. That's the phrase. Cool. So yeah, you carry on, and a little while later you're greeted with confirmation that you're on the right track as you encounter a small stream coming from the east, and the road mirrors its route down to the banks of the Transal. You've barely started following the stream when the Bay Bridge and its encampment comes into sight ahead of you. The bridge, you can see, is semi-permanent. It's a wooden construction rather than stone, but fairly heavily reinforced, at least at this end, which is the end that you can most obviously see. But you can also see that there is a mechanism in place whereby the centre of the bridge can be removed. It's not like a modern bridge, not like Tower Bridge or something like that, where the bridge actually raises. It is literally that ropes and pulleys are used to haul the centre of the bridge out of the way.
Right.
Around it, there is a small encampment. It's clearly not a permanent settlement of any kind. You don't think anybody stays here for any length of time. But there are a number of docks on both sides of the wharves on both sides of the river here, where boats going up and down the river can stop and unload here and then ship goods down by road into Calwyn's Bay, rather than have to pass the bridge. You also
Okay.
can see that there are a few merchants that have set up stalls here, presumably primarily trying to sell to sailors and maybe to potential passengers who might have come here to get on a boat and sail upriver. And you get the impression, looking at them, that these merchants are also en route. They're either going upriver or they've just come downriver, but they're not here because this is where they do their business. They're here because they're in
Right.
mid-journey, and they have decided to set up an impromptu stall and see what they can sell while they're here. You suspect that these ones are probably heading upriver, since it's still fairly early. It's like mid-morning. So the chances of them having just arrived are pretty slim. If they had come in on a boat, first thing this morning or last thing last night, they'd probably be on their way to Calwin's Bay by now. So you suspect that they have come here and are waiting for the boat that's going to take them upriver, and they're just trying to see what they can sell in the meantime.
Okay.
There are other people here who are, for example, selling food and drink. In the same way that would happen in a village. There isn't a tavern or anything like that, but there are people who just happen to have, they've brewed up some ale. It's good for 2 or 3 days, so they've maybe come out of Calwin's Bay, maybe they've come off a ship, hard to say, but one way or another, they've just got small kegs or water skins full of ale or what have you, and they're calling out, trying to get people to buy that from them. It seems to be quite a thriving way stop, but that is what it is. It is a way stop. It's not a destination in and of itself for any of these people.
Okay.
Is there anything you would like to do at the bridge encampment?
I don't think so. I think we kind of just want to get on this and get to Salcoast.
Okay. There are some Bay Marines here, but they're not really doing anything. They're not paying much attention to anybody. You suspect that they perk up when a boat comes in, and they'll check what's on the boat in a similar way to the ones outside Calwin's Bay would do. Mm-hmm. But they're not paying any attention to the people here. They're not even standing for the most part. Their spears are leaning up against trees or tree stumps or what have you, and they are just sort of like sitting on camp stools and that kind of thing, and just watching in case of trouble, but not really doing anything. There's no charge or anything for getting across the bridge. Nobody tries to stop you. If you don't talk to them, nobody will pay any attention to you at all as you move through the camp and walk across the bridge to the west bank of the Tranthal.
Just as we cross, I look at you said the central bit of the bridge can be moved. Is that for defense, or is it to let boats through, as in master boats through?
From what you've heard about the region, it is more likely to be to let larger boats through.
Right. Okay.
There's a couple of boats here, and you can see that they're fairly shallow draft river boats, river barges, and you imagine that is what the majority of travel up and down is. And from what you've seen, ships coming in would either unload at Calwin's Bay, or they might sail up as far as here. But looking at it, all of the wharves are on the far side of the bridge. So even if they did sail up as far as here to unload, they'd then have to pass through the bridge, which seems very inconvenient, a lot of hassle for everybody. Especially since there's nobody here whose job it seems to be to move the bridge. So you suspect that when that needs to be done, it has to be the ship's crew who get off and do it. It seems fairly straightforward as to how it works. The bridge is held together by nothing more complicated than gravity. The central sections are just laid in place, and they fit quite neatly. You can see that as you're heading across, but they are just laid in place. But there are like inset rings that you can pull up to attach ropes to, allowing you to pull up whichever side you're coming from. You can just pull on the ropes and hoik the whole thing up, and either just hold it there while the ship comes through, or from there you could, with enough men, lift it and remove it completely. If you did need for defence, it could be used that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so on the far side of the Tranthal, the road then begins to curve down towards the south, and at this point, we've had the bit of narrative that I wrote based on the Hexploration system. So from here on in, I'm going to tell you roughly what you encounter as you go along, and we'll work out what's there between us. So, first thing, so the first hex that you move into, a hex in this system is not as big as the ones that are being shown on screen at the moment. It's 1/10 of that at 1.5 miles per hex. So you're traveling roughly 2 hexes per hour when you're traveling. And within the first 1.5 miles of leaving the bridge, you encounter 2 landmarks. Does anybody have any thoughts as to what landmarks you might see as you head away from the bridge? The bridge itself does not count.
Some kind of memorial, Ken.
Yep. Okay.
Possibly to people drowned when a previous iteration of the bridge collapsed or something.
I like that idea. Yeah, okay. So you see, now that's given us some history that there was a bridge collapse. Let's say I'm going to roll that. I'm going to make it, I think I'll make it a d6 plus 2 years ago.
Okay.
So 5 years ago, there was a bridge collapse. And there you go. There is a memorial cairn for that. That's a nice one.
Cool, cool.
So that would be the first thing that you encounter within this space.
The area has been technically settled before the Empire collapsed in on itself, wasn't it?
That's correct, yeah.
Perhaps some ruins of an older fort or some such that guarded the river at that time.
Yeah, like a tower,
Yeah.
a guard tower or something like that.
Yeah, like even if it's just sort of the footprint of it on the ground, it would still be of note as we walk.
Absolutely. So yeah, as you
Says the
as you
historian.
continue your movement away, then yeah, just past the bridge, you see this this cairn with it like a cairn is. It's a pile of rocks, obviously, but one of the larger rocks towards the surface has been carved with the date and whatever the ancient Assyrian equivalent of in memoriam would be, since that's the language they would probably use for this. And then a little further down, you see, and it would be, as you're traveling, it would be to your left because it would be towards the river. The road would be going inland of it. And towards the river, you see, possibly if you head up and investigate it more, there might be more to see. But from where you are, you just see a single small section of well-constructed wall, lightly curved, and clearly not a farmhouse. Something of a more solid and military construction. But without going and investigating it further, that's as much information as you can get about that. But it is a useful landmark. You will know. Honestly, you can kind of see the bridge from here anyway. But if you were traveling upriver and when you saw that, you'd know that you were almost at the bridge. It's a nice landmark.
Did you say the bridge was wooden or stone?
The bridge
Both.
is wooden.
Okay.
It has the ends would have the parts on the bank would have stone foundations, but then it's a wooden bridge from there.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, would the pillars at the ends of the bridge be not just similar because it's local stone, but
Reclaimed stone from
dressed in the same way stuff that's been robbed out? Yeah.
Yeah, either reclaimed or built, or like these are the old foundations of the old bridge, which was built by whoever built that.
Yeah. If either way, yeah. Because even if a bridge collapses and goes down, if the foundation
usually stays.
enough, yeah.
it doesn't even have to be particularly solid. It depends where the foundations end on the thing.
Yeah.
If the bridge starts inland enough and it's a central collapse, the foundation will
Yeah.
stick around, particularly
But
the
yeah,
stone.
definitely the stone dressed in the same way as the wall.
Okay, so yeah, you those two landmarks are both found within the first mile and a half. The first one very close to the bridge, the other one probably about a mile down the road from there, and obviously offset. It's not by the road. You're seeing it further in towards the river. You've moved by this point a little distance away from the river, well, about a mile and a half actually away from the river. So it's still fairly close to you to be on the banks of the river, and it's not right on the banks. It's close enough.
Okay.
Next thing, as you carry on marching, is you encounter now the system. This is one that I'm not going to be asking you about because the system has generated here what is called a key encounter. And the way the system works, it can generate a number of things like landmarks, terrain tweaks, key encounters and random encounters. Random encounters are exactly that. When you left the city, the first thing that happened there is I rolled 2 random encounters in the same place and I decided to merge them. So you had a random encounter with Marines and a random encounter with merchants, and you just happened to meet them both at the same time as the Marines were harassing the merchants. Here we have rolled a key encounter. A key encounter is connected to the current scenario. Unless, of course, the GM doesn't have any key encounters for the current scenario, in which case it becomes a random encounter. In this case, what you see marching up the road, coming up the road towards you, is a small hand-drawn cart with a couple of men, one pulling it, the other pushing it, and piled on the cart, once again, appear to be their worldly goods. More refugees, similar to the ones you've already spoken to, but this time 2 men rather than a family.
Somebody else can talk to them.
Well, I mean, you know pretty much what they're coming from. You can talk to them if you want additional information, or you can just,
What kind of
be
condition
polite
do
and
they
greet
look?
them on the way past.
Are either of them injured or
No,
battered
they look
at all,
perfectly.
Or do they just...
They look perfectly healthy, and fairly sturdy as well. Neither of them looks like the journey is particularly bothering them. They're not, built like a brick privy or anything like that, but they look like fairly solid. Almost certainly farm workers this time. They look like fairly solid outdoor workers who, in this instance, are just moving on to a new place and have acquired themselves a hand cart to do so, to make it rather easier.
Okay. Corbin will step forward and say, "Good day, masters.
Good day, sir.
You wouldn't happen to be coming from Ferroin's farm or one thereabouts, would you?"
One nearby. Yeah. No, we don't work for Ferroin, but we know the farm. Ours is the one we did work for is just next door. We got given the boot, though.
Is this in connection to the missing livestock we have been hearing tales of?
That it is. My brother here, he was a shepherd. Myself, I was just a farm labourer. But when he let my brother go, I went with him because I wasn't going to stick around with a man who said such things to a member of my family. Accused him of being slack in his work, of losing sheep because he wasn't paying attention. So that's a nonsense. It was the monster took him. Everybody knows there's a monster.
Whose farm was
The
it?
idea of theft, yeah. Which farm was it? Sorry,
That was Master Jorrel's farm, that was.
Oh. Where would we find that farm if we wish to avoid going anywhere near it?
Well, if you know Feroin's farm, then Hare's is just Joril's is just south of that, and perhaps a little bit further from the road.
Okay.
Thank you.
The brother,
Appreciated.
the actual shepherd, has not actually said a word during all of this.
I
You do see him lightly shaking his head as his brother lights off about Joril, as if it doesn't bother him as much as it does the other man.
I look over at him. Did you happen to see the results of the attacks, or was it simply that the animals were taken?
Couldn't rightly miss it. 3 sheep went missing overnight while I was out there looking after them. One of them, I never saw what happened to it. It was there, and then next time I looked, it wasn't. I didn't see that because I was looking into what happened to the other 2. I don't know if you've ever heard a sheep scream. They make a heck of a noise, though. They don't like pain, those sheep. And I heard the sheep scream, and obviously I rushed over to find out what was wrong. And I found 2 of them, one already dead, the other one just bleeding his last. They'd been cut open by something that wasn't no man did that. wasn't a blade. The wounds was too ragged. Claws, that's what did that. Cunning thing it must be, though. Killed 2 sheep just to distract me while it stole a 3rd. Don't know any animal acts like that.
Strange indeed.
You didn't see it. You just heard it. Yes.
I just heard the screams. Whatever it was doing, it moved fast enough that it got out of sight before I reached the site. And then when I came back, there was an extra sheep missing. And the others was all on edge.
So, the ones that died, is it claw wounds, teeth wounds, do you reckon?
Definitely claws. They was slashed open.
And no attempt at feeding, just ripped open.
Not on them, just ripped open, then lit out before I got there, and stole another.
I'm guessing wolves and similar are not common in this area.
They're not common. We encounter them now and then. Sometimes in a bad winter, one might stray this far. Not so much coming from the peak's edge because it's a right long way. More often, we get plains cats coming from the west, and even then, rarely. But every few years or so, we might see a plains cat come to the area, and they don't kill like this. Don't kill nothing like this.
Given familiarity with them, how large would you say that this creature is?
I can't really speak for how large the creature was. I can maybe speak for how large the claws were, and I would say they must be at least 3 inches. Now, I've never met a creature with 3-inch claws, and frankly, I never want to.
Certainly no wolf or large cat.
Certainly any creature we know would have fed on them. No creature I know of leaves its kill.
I don't. The other man, the one who first spoke, will kick in at this point. I don't want to get you afeard and speak of superstition, but you ask me, it's a demon of some kind. Nothing natural could have done that.
How long ago was this? How many nights ago was this?
Well, this was last night.
Oh.
Oh, so it's fresh then.
I came back and told Master Joril as soon as it happened. and he threw me out there and then.
Right.
So we got our bits together and started off.
And this is the only incident you have witnessed, but you have had you heard tell of others before?
There have been stories. I didn't really believe the stories until it happened, till I saw it with my own eyes. Or didn't see it with my own eyes. But I certainly saw the aftermath.
Yes.
Not wishing to be picky, but surely if something was attacking your livestock, you'd want more people, not less.
That relies
You'd
on
have
them
to ask Master
believing
Joel about that. I
believe
don't know.
it's ask. It relies on them believing it's an attack.
Weird land dwellers. Very strange people. Okay. So
Does Master Joel employ many people?
Not so very many. It's not the biggest farm in the area by a long chalk. Biggest farm would be further south. But Joel, I think before he let us go, Joel had 6 men working on his farm. Plus his whole family, of course. None of us really expect to be employed on a long-term basis.
No.
Mostly these farms pick people up for workers needs doing at the time. But shepherd seemed like a safe job when I took it. It's all year round. There's never a time of the year when there aren't sheep.
How long had you been there, if you don't mind me asking?
Little over a year.
Okay. So a while.
A while.
and
Things
you've never
aren't
seen
good round
anything
here
like
now, though,
that
so we're heading to
recently
Calwyn's. Well,
before.
we're heading past Calwyn's Bay. I know there's farms out to the east. We're going to go find a farm there and see what work we can get as far away from Joel as we can be.
And how many sheep, how many heads were you responsible for?
Okay. Now, I as a GM have not thought of this, but he as a shepherd will know exactly how many sheep were in his flock.
Yep.
Let's say
When in
it
doubt.
was 25. That sounds like a good number.
Okay.
Okay. What did you say the season was, Fish?
Now, I'm pretty sure I did say what the season was at some point. I wonder
think you
what
did,
I
yeah.
said the season was.
For
I
some
think
reason, I
said
have
that it was
late.
fairly early in the year.
Yeah, I thought you said it was mid spring or something like that, but I don't know why I think that.
I think I had it that you were on one of the first ships when the weather cleared enough for ships to be able to travel back to Colwyn's Bay. I think I put it as one of the first ships then, which would make it probably early spring, somewhere around the turnover.
So just before lambing season.
Yeah, a little before lambing season.
Okay.
Which makes it doubly weird why he would let a shepherd
Exactly,
go
yeah.
just before lambing season, and it's like
Yeah. Yes, we don't need any more hands during lambing season. Why would that be a thing?
Yeah, exactly. Probably not the season when you get the most volunteers out of the nearby area. Definitely not.
Yes, definitely not where casual labourers come in at all. As if.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're just going off on one here. Sorry.
Quite literally, because my older cousins, because my uncle had a farm, older cousins were literally gotten in out of the city to come help with lambing season. I remember, because my cousins would beat me there for the summer because they were helping with the lambs and the calves, because my uncle had both.
Okay, be all rural on this. We just see them a lot. You can't get away from the sheep.
My grandfather was a farmer, but he was primarily dealt with plough horses. Somewhere I've got his certificate from a local fair for first prize, displaying his not his, but the Shire horse from the farm that he worked on. And I've got his horse passes as well.
I was going to say, have you got his horse passes? Because
I have somewhere.
That'd be a nice thing to be able to display somewhere.
Unless they went to Australia, because they were. I inherited them, but they might have gone to Australia with my family, because when we were clearing everything out of the house, I didn't yet have somewhere else to live. So it depends on whether I sent them to Australia or put them into storage.
Fair enough.
Yeah, technically, for a little bit, I owned, quote unquote, a heifer, because my uncle bred cows and sheep. Feisted on one I got. I mean, it was really nice.
Shocker.
My mother has a story of having a pet pig until one day they had bacon for breakfast.
Ouch.
As is usually the way.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, never saw that one grow up. Was gone by the time I went back for the next summer.
Yeah, my aunt and uncle went through a spate of keeping lambs in their orchard, which sounds far posher than it actually is. But they had an orchard, and they just had the lambs grazing in there and eating apples. And yeah, then they had a freezer full of lamb for a couple of years.
Yeah, best thing though, fresh milk of a farm. Great thing.
I bet.
I'm less keen on fresh milk, given my allergies.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Hey, this is a reason now to get working on the sheep farm fish. You can just drink sheep's milk. Have you got an equipment? Are we in possession of an equipment list for OB? Because there's a couple of bits I've just realised that I was going to pick up and I completely forgot to. But it's just
I
like
don't know
belt
whether you
pouches
have
and
it
stuff.
saved locally, but if not, there is a link on the message group for this to a document called Simfant Treasure.
Gotcha.
The back end of that is the equipment list from Simple Fantasy, adjusted to shillings rather than just silver coins. So it's actually recorded in as shillings and pennies, or occasionally crowns for expensive stuff.
Much appreciated.
There's probably a great deal that needs to be added to it, but we'll do that as it becomes apparent that it's missing.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the one page, but it is not there. Okay. I may well have it saved locally. Oh no, there it is. Okay, got it.
It should be the first thing you come
got it.
Yeah, the message, coinage and prices and stuff. Oh my.
Yeah, I'd scrolled up straight past it. It's fine. It's just me being dense. Yeah, it's nothing dramatic. It's just I realised I had nowhere to do things like put my knives. I'm also trying to work out if I have 2 knives or 1 out of my sailor's pack.
Now.
Hang on one moment.
That's
I
a
need
good
to just
question.
nip out for a moment.
Okay.
I would need to look up where I look up the equipment packs that I came up with. Gear packages. There we go. Let's see. So your sailor's pack would contain a single knife, would be a hook knife.
Right.
But each PC has 2 of the packs, so you might have got a knife from your other pack. What was your other pack?
No, it's not that. It's down as hook knife in the details, and then afterwards I've made a note. NB bodkin with primary slash. Now is that just?
Yeah. So that's basically rather than work up specific stats for the hook knife, what I did is take the stats for the bodkin, but swap it so that rather the bodkin has a primary piercing attack.
Yeah.
And the hook knife has a primary slashing attack because it's a different
Okay,
design. But otherwise, it's the same stats, but with that change.
Yeah, no, that is absolutely fine. That makes more sense now.
P2 slash damage, which is in other words power plus 2 as a slash attack.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you. Apologies.
Okay. So I suspect you have got everything that you want to out of these guys. You seem to have more questions than you have answers from them, if you're honest. But you have probably exhausted what they have to tell you.
We're getting a feel that there is something a bit funky going on here because
I realise I misspoke.
weird.
I described the farm as being south of Feroin's farm, but actually, for them to have reached this far, they would have to be north of Feroin's farm.
Okay.
So, quick correction there.
Feroin's farm was, she says, going up to...
Feroin's farm was roughly opposite the woods that you can see on the map.
So, around there, yeah?
So you're kind of looking at Feroin's farm is probably about a day's travel from here. These guys seem to have made the distance, made that distance in about half a day. So probably, it would have to be north of Feroin's farm rather than south of Feroin's farm. So I apologise for that. On my part.
Okay.
Though they are probably they are moving quicker than probably quicker than you are, in fact, because you're taking a standard marching pace, whereas these guys are somewhat incensed and annoyed, and therefore they're kind of pushing ahead quite quickly.
They're marching, whereas we're just
they are proper marching. Basically, the way I've got it is you can move 2 hexes per hour under normal circumstances. You can easily push to 3 hexes an hour. If you march more quickly, but then you're going to gradually start building up fatigue over time. But over short periods, just 3 hexes an hour is not a challenge for you.
I imagine they're probably starting to slow down as they're getting tired after that.
Yeah, they'll probably manage to. They'll probably keep pushing until they reach the bridge and then stop there for a while. Because they're still not far from that. They're only about an hour from that, really.
Okay.
Okay. So, if that is all for that encounter, moving on, the next thing you see, interestingly, is another small group marching up the road towards you. These are moving at a more normal marching pace like you are, normal walking pace.
Right.
But again, they do seem to be of a similar ilk. They don't have a handcart. And this time, what you are seeing is 2 women and a man. They are dressed as if they could well be farm workers. 2 of them have walking sticks. And they are all carrying packs with not a huge amount of equipment. They're not carrying, like the first group that you met, all their worldly possessions bundled up and they're struggling under the weight. But they are carrying packs that they look like they're kind of familiar carrying. Your guess would be maybe itinerant workers. And from their expressions as they are approaching you, they are also not in a good mood. Does anybody want to make me a... Let's see, should we go with perception or observation for this? But how close attention are you paying to them as you see them coming?
Now
if you're actually paying attention to them, it'll be an observation roll.
Yeah,
we're on 2 out of 3 for a pattern.
Yeah, exactly.
Ezra is starting to pay attention.
Okay, so it'll be... I'm going to make it a perception detect. That's I said, yeah.
Perception
so the
notice,
perception
or-
skill, detect noise is what I'm actually looking for.
Right, okay.
And with your observation attribute. So again,
Okay.
perception, detect noise, any other perception can be used at half its rank.
Okay.
But this is to overhear something as they're talking to each other. while
Right.
they're
Okay.
approaching,
So 3.
Oh,
so
I've got
3
the
plus-
use of
3
detect
plus 2,
noise.
1.
but you don't actually have the skill yet.
Yeah.
2. Okay.
So again, if you're rounding down on a default, then you've got that 50-50 chance of it coming in as one skill. If you
Yeah.
have
Let's give that a
no
go.
perception at all, then it's just observation.
It's rounding down to 1 rather than to
If
0.
it's rounding
for a
down to
change.
1, yeah. I'm only applying the 50-50 chance if you're
Yeah.
rounding down to
Ignore
0.
the die roll if it rolls then. Okay, it didn't call.
4 successes.
Oh, wow.
This
What
is
did you say?
standard difficulty, so we're looking for 5s and up.
You are looking for 5s and up, yeah.
Oh, bloody hell. Okay. Right. You roll that explosion. That's a no. So just the 3.
5 successes, one of which was an explosion.
Oh,
Yeah.
flaming hell. Okay.
I had 4. Yeah, I had 4 on it.
So
I have 4 dice. I got successes on all.
Okay, I have 6, but so that.
Oh, for God's sake! I thought I was doing well.
Well, I've got perception notice at 4, so I'm.
I have perception search at 2, so I got a total of 4 dice. Got 3 on observation.
Yeah.
I got 5, 5, 6, 10, 5, 5, 7, 10, and I rolled another 10
Oh,
on the
crumbs.
explosion.
Aha.
Oh, good lord. Okay. As you do. Oh,
Okay,
Laura.
so the lower rolling character, i.e. Sharon,
I can't believe that.
will...
Sharon's actually offended.
Yeah, we're kind of like rolling here to see whether you would catch more than the odd word here. Did you catch
Yeah.
that key piece of information? You got entire sentences with those rolls. The first thing that you hear, probably because it is said slightly louder than the others, and it's said by one of the women
Right.
approaching, is you quite clearly make out Joel can go to the demons.
Okay. Hello.
So first thing, that of course is the name that you got from the last two guys as being
Yeah.
the farmer that they were working for.
Demons
And
say.
that's about all that Sharon can catch. You get odd words maybe from the other bits, but you can't make out entire sentences apart from that one. The other two will both hear the other woman responding, he's not so bad, but we should find somewhere better. And the last thing that you will get, which again, I'm not going to distinguish between the 2 high success rolls, you'll both get this, is going to be that the man will be saying, if we keep pushing on, maybe we can catch Gurn and Jostil, see what they're doing. They end their conversation as you get within what they consider to be earshot. Clearly, you've heard more than they would have wanted you to hear already, because they shut up when they see you coming. But your keen ears have picked up bits of their conversation as you are approaching. The man actually will address you rather than waiting for you to address him as you're approaching. And he will call out saying, "Good day, travellers. Have you seen 2 fellows with a cart going this way?"
Oh yeah, we passed them just a
Further
little
up the
while
road.
ago. Yeah.
I take it you know them?
I We worked together for a while.
Master Jorrel's farm.
Oh, you spoke to them then?
Yes, we did.
Yes.
They did tell us why they were leaving. I take it you are also leaving him for the same reasons?
Pretty much the same reasons. We're leaving largely because if the man's going to treat Gurn that way, who knows what he'll do to the rest of us. It suddenly became a far less attractive place to work. Yeah, let him handle his own sheep.
Mm-hmm.
And I take it I take it you didn't see the results of the attack yourselves.
I didn't. No. Farmer Joel went out there with a few of the lads he said, what was it he said? I think he said something like, to see what this idiot's done. They brought back the bodies of 2 sheep, but they was on a cart, and we didn't see him. I don't know why. He put a cloth across them, like you might if it was a person who'd been found dead. But we know from Gurn that it was just sheep. So I don't know why he hid them. Yeah.
I mean,
A couple of the lads came back with him, but the others must have stayed out there to round up the rest of the herd. Flock.
From what your mates said up ahead, it wouldn't have been a pretty sight. Might not have wanted to startle the workers.
Or
It's possible, I
provide
suppose.
good reason for... well, anyway. So you're heading on... Yeah, if you pick up the pace a little bit, you should be able to catch them before mid-afternoon.
Yeah, you'll probably catch them at the bridge if they pick stuff there to rest.
Thank you kindly.
I don't suppose you've heard from any of the other farms in the area about this matter? Talk to other workers?
I haven't personally, no.
Okay. Just wondering if anyone else had said anything or had any other stories, because it does seem a little concerning about a beast attack this close to the road and the bridge and all.
Just a bit.
How many farms are there in that area? We've heard of Master Ferroin and Master Jorrel. Do you know of any of the other? How many others there are in that area?
This is sort of prime farming land, to be honest. Now, Ferroin and Jorrel are the only ones on the west side of the road as keep sheep. And there's a couple of sheep farms further south and closer to the bay, past the woods, because it's
closer to Salcoast.
Closer to Salcoast, indeed, yeah, because it's hilly terrain there, and hill country's good for sheep.
Yeah.
So there's a number of small independent farms there. People with just a few sheep doing what they can. One or two larger farms. Over to the west, where Jorrel and Ferroin are, that's mostly crops there. But those two, they picked up some sheep somewhere a while back. The two of them are quite close friends. There's no rivalry between them. I think I don't know, maybe they share a background, but their farms, my understanding is that their farms opened about the same time, and they both brought some sheep in, and they they grow wheat, but they also have some sheep and a few pigs and chickens. Bit of an all-round thing, I suppose.
Okay.
You keep going south, and it's more, not far south, because it's round this curve on the road that's where most of the farms is. And as you go south past those two, you get into the more serious agricultural, so to speak, farmers. And they have, some of them have some quite large fields. And they're shipping goods down to Ketchton or up and across to Calwyn's Bay from there. It's good country, good farming country. The problems seem to be mostly, I don't like to speak ill of them, but problems seem to be mostly around Ferroin and Jorrell's farms. Now maybe that's just because they're the only ones who have sheep, but maybe it's not. Maybe there's something about those two, close as they are, that have attracted this trouble.
You haven't heard anything from the smaller farms up in the hills,
No, haven't moved in, haven't gone in that direction to meet any of them.
And there's no cow farming in cows in the area.
There is some.
Is
So
the word you're looking for?
yeah, mainly what you've got Ferroin and Jorrell's farms, which are, as I say, they're a little bit of a mix. They've got some fields, but they've also got like the sheep and chickens and a few sheep, and then you've got the big agricultural farms, big wheat farms. Then past that, there's still some more farms. There's a good size farm quite close to Salcoast. There's a good size farm which has a lot of cattle, and there's a few cattle on some of the farms before you reach there. It kind of tails off. They've got smaller fields, but they've got some pastured land and cattle.
But none in the nearby.
None too close. Not a long way away. I suppose if we'd gone south instead of north, when we set out, we'd have hit those farms by now, easy enough. But but we was following Gurn and Jostel, see where they went. Solidarity, I believe, is the word.
Well, they said they were planning on heading east from Calwyn's Bay, so as I say, we'll probably catch them before the bridge. At any rate.
Yeah, there's good farming land to the east, so makes sense they would go there if they wanted to get away from here. We travel a bit more, you know. We'd only recently been on Jorrell's farm, just a couple of days, really. You know, came in hoping to get up to pick some work in the fields and when the lambing comes in. But no, if he's going to treat his workers like that, don't want to be working for a man like that, so we're moving on.
Understandable. Did you come up from the south then, or?
So did we come from the south, or?
Yeah.
The road curves down to the south. I mean, it's going mostly west at the moment, but it curves to the south, and that's where we're coming from. Yeah, you're at the point where it sort of comes in. It's never straight west. It's slightly going south.
Yeah.
You are just before the top of the tree, just where it's starting to curve down to the south.
Well, thanks for the heads up. We're heading on to Salcoast, but it's
good day to you.
Best of luck.
Stay out of the fields at night. It's my best advice.
Will do.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Memo, go to the fields at night.
Well, I think we need to.
Well,
I
let's
think
finish our current job first.
Yeah, we need to
Then
get
we can have
Bebius
a fun.
to Salcoast, and then we can come back.
Then we can have fun.
Okay.
When you say fun.
Fighter
So
usually a bit of fun.
Corwin is intrigued now as a game hunter, as a game warden. So like professional interest has been piqued.
Right.
Good. Always nice to give the characters some motivation.
Yep.
Ezra's investigative side is peeking through now.
Excellent. So the next thing that you will encounter as you travel will be some unexpected terrain. So the definition of unexpected terrain in this context is similar to the flower beds that you came across before, where there are two terrain results that can come up. A terrain tweak is an addition to the underlying terrain. So, for example, the stream that you found before, you're still passing through the same type of terrain, but there's an extra feature like the stream. A terrain tweak is where you get an unexpected area of different underlying terrain. So this is kind of plains heading into farmland at this point, and unexpected terrain would be like maybe an unexpected rocky outcropping where for some distance, rather than just a few rocks, the terrain, the underlying terrain actually changes for somewhere between maybe like half a mile to a mile
Okay.
or so. Any thoughts as to what you might encounter? Bearing in mind that the road is going this way, so it's pretty much got to be something to the side of the road, unless it's a change in terrain that actually makes the road easier to traverse, because then certainly they would move through it if it gets easier unexpectedly. Any thoughts as to what it might be?
Did you say we're on hillside now? Hilly area?
You're on plains pretty much. There are
Plains, okay.
the land is not by any stretch of the imagination flat. And obviously there are hilly areas just past the woods. You're not quite at the woods. You're at the point where you can see the woods now. Probably you're passing through and you can see forests to the south, and the road is curving around. It's coming in and curving round that way because it's not going straight through the woods.
Yeah.
So I suppose you could have something like a small satellite wood here that isn't featured on the main map, and isn't enough to dissuade the road from passing through it, or you could have a spring or a single hill just unexpectedly in the middle of the plain, things like that.
I was wondering about, yes, both, a hillock covered in gorse.
A hillock covered in gorse.
And only on that. Something stopping it
Okay,
spreading.
so that's going to be. I'm going to say that is to the northwest side of the road.
Okay.
And it makes this an area where you probably are being a little bit more alert, because
We're being
that
fairly
gorse,
alert anyway.
yeah, that gorse-covered hillock, of course, gives a potential place for people to hide by the side of the road, and the road sort of curves round with that to one side, and it runs for a little bit of a distance, obviously, because it's significant enough to warrant the unexpected terrain feature. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be a fair-sized section. But from your point of view as travellers, it's really just a decorative feature, for want of a better term,
Okay.
that you observe as you go past. And that takes you to your second hour of travel since you left the bridge.
Okay.
So you did 2 hours on the way to the bridge, 2 hours after the bridge. You're now at the point of the day where you might want to be stopping and getting some food, or alternatively, depending on how you feel about the situation, you could break out some food and just eat as you walk. Bebius would be grateful for the break, but if you're concerned about... He will defer to you, since he's paying you to keep him safe on this journey. He will defer to your preferences on this matter.
I mean, we're on the road. If he wants a break, we can take a break. But
and it's daylight.
Yeah.
I'd rather take a break while it's day outside
It is.
and be inside after dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It is pretty much lunchtime, probably. Depending on how early you started, of course. I mean, if you started early enough, 4 hours travel, it could still be the middle of the morning, but it's probably about lunchtime.
Yeah.
No, I mean we probably
started
breakfast
before
we probably
8.
breakfasted at the inn and then headed out.
Yeah.
This being a fantasy RPG, people in Cathona eat breakfast, as opposed to genuine medieval people who apparently didn't.
I think it was variable.
It wasn't as much of a guarantee as it maybe is today, but if you had the time in the morning and you had the food, I think it's more an issue of oftentimes if you wanted fresh food, you had to go get it first. So by the time you actually ate, it was closer to lunchtime.
You wouldn't have any cornflakes in the cupboard at the beginning of the day to break your fast with.
Functionally.
No, you don't gruel and pottage.
Yeah.
And often people like these farm workers that you've been encountering would be starting their day so early that it's almost still the night before.
Yeah.
Yeah. And oftentimes they don't eat when they get up. They eat when they come back in after doing their job.
Yeah. Yeah, very commonly it would be no breakfast. The first meal would be at lunchtime. I now can't remember. I think that was the main meal of the day would be lunch.
Yeah.
And then a light
lunch
meal
was
in the evening.
usually it was usually lunch, and then you have stuff to eat between that and dinner, and then dinner was something light.
It's when sort of industrialization came in, really, that the main meal of the day shifted to the evening after you had done your shift. Because you would then have evil mill owners that didn't want you to take a significant break in the middle of the day for a big meal.
I was going to go with standardized hours, but you do you.
Well, that too.
It's more the standardized hours, because even when it was mostly farming, they were still standard hours. But the standardized hours were morning, when things needed to be let out of barns, milk, etc. Morning milk would have to be picked up. Then you didn't actually have much to do during the lunchtime other than keep an eye on the weather, keep an eye on your flock or your cattle.
And fix things.
And fix anything that might be broken. And then in the evening, get everyone back inside, do last chores of the day. So lunchtime at that point was a genuine break in the day. Then industrialization happened, and suddenly everybody's working, 8 to 7. You don't actually have time for such a big break as lunch used to be.
Okay, so you can have a bit of a break. You've got some good sort of travelling type of food that has been provided in your packs. Although he's not paying you a great deal as a daily wage, Bebius has provided the materials for your travel. So if you don't have a pack, he would have made sure that you've got one, and he would also have paid for probably some ale, to be honest, but also, of course, water for travelling with. You do have opportunities along the way here and there to stop and drink, such as the stream before you reached the encampment at the bridge, and at the bridge there was food available, but you hadn't really been going long enough to necessarily want any of that at the time.
No.
But you've got your basic supplies, which Bebius made sure were provided for you, and yeah, you can pull out sort of like bread and cheese and that sort of thing. That is fairly common walking food for the era and area.
Mm-hmm.
And after you have rested for a little bit and eaten, you can move on. And I've decided on the next feature for myself rather than asking you, just because it sounds good to me. It was another unexpected terrain feature. So shortly after you pass the gorse area,
Right.
on the west side of the road, as the road is now curving down, you pass a copse of trees. Looking across to that as you pass, they're not close enough together to really act as cover for bandits, so you're not too concerned, but obviously you do keep an eye on it as you're passing. It doesn't look like it is cultivated in any way. It just looks like you're between the various establishments. You haven't quite hit the farms yet, and this is just a set of trees that maybe nobody's chopped down. Wouldn't surprise you in the least if you went over and investigated, if you found a few tree stumps where locals have cut down trees for their own use. But it's certainly not being a cultivated area. It's not been removed to turn it into farmland, because you haven't reached the farmland yet, and it's not being maintained by anybody. It's just there at the side of the road.
Corwin
the next
will...
hour.
Corwin's just ranging slightly off the path a bit, particularly if we come to like tree areas like this copse and such, because he's also like scanning the ground for suitable like twigs or lengths of wood that he will be able to fashion into arrows at a rest. Because I bought the arrowheads and in the with the idea to actually make my own arrows, because I do have Fletcher or bow arrows. I have Fletcher and woodworking.
Excellent. Right, well, there is a search speciality of perception, so I would say make me an observation and search, perception search check.
Search. I have noticed, so it's 2. Okay, cool. Wow, that is awful.
Yeah.
That is 1 success on 5 dice.
Ouch.
Ouchie.
Okay, that is not a lot at all.
No.
You did get a success, though, so I will be nice. You will find... Oh, I rolled well. You will find 3 suitable bits of wood for making arrows with, but alas, only 3. And then rush a bit, hurry a bit to catch up with the walking party who are getting ahead of you somewhat while you search.
Ez will similarly drop into the copse of trees briefly and look for some wood to do some woodworking with, because they have found that they didn't actually pack enough in their bag when they left, or have used more than they expected to.
Okay, so what sort of thing is it that you're looking for?
Probably just thicker branches that might have fallen, or something low enough level that they can break off.
It's a less demanding search than your requirements aren't as strict as for good arrows. So I'm not going to make you roll for that one. I am just going to say that, in fact, what I'll do, I am going to make use of another option that I've got that never got published for this game, but hopefully will do one day, which is I've got a mechanic for dice subbing, is how I tend to refer to it. Which is just taking a number of successes based on what your skill level is, rather than actually rolling the dice. So what would your observation and I doubt you have the search specialization, but
Actually, I do.
Oh, you do. Okay, so observation and search. How many dice does that give you?
So perception search is 2, observation 3, so 5.
Okay.
Yeah, because as rolled, the guy went missing. From their local reporter or something went missing. Yeah. Investigating the disappearance of a journalist.
Yeah,
So they got
right.
perception search out of it.
Okay, so declaring this a threshold number 3, because it's relatively easy to find what you're looking for, means that you will get a success for every 2 dice that you have. So that is a guaranteed 2 successes. But at the same time, you're looking for something probably a little bit beefier than the arrows. So I'm just going to call it 1 per success. And you can find 2 or 3 suitable chunks of wood for what you have in mind.
If one's doing handicraft, it's very disconcerting.
Yeah, all of you are doing handicraft. You've been making saps.
Yes. Just the one so far, but yeah.
I mean, as is the only one with it being basically non-useful. This is just a hobby.
Yeah.
Corwin is making arrows to shoot at things, and you're making something to bash people with. As is just making little figurines for shits and giggles.
The next hour passes in very dull travel. There is nothing to attract your attention. I rolled no special feature on the next 2 hexes. So basically, for about 3 miles, about an hour's travel, you are just marching along a road through plains with nothing to distinguish them from anywhere else. If it wasn't for the road, this is the kind of terrain where it would be easy to get lost in. But fortunately, you are following a road.
Okay.
You then reach another small stream. It actually crosses the road, but it is at the point that it crosses the road. It is quite small indeed. So there's no issues. Even if you had a cart, you'd just bump over it without really even noticing, to be honest. And it certainly doesn't bother you here. But you can get some water from it if you want to. You can just follow it slightly upstream to where it's slightly downstream to where it's a little bit wider and easier to get water from. But there's no need to actually run through that because it's we're not tracking your water levels or anything. But as a role play feature, you can note that you've done that if you want to. And then as you carry on past that, as you're crossing the stream, you see on the road up ahead, quite some distance, you can see them from quite a way away on this relatively straight road at this point. It's got a light curve, but you're really kind of going southwest at this point, fairly straight. And up ahead, you can see a fairly large group approaching you. The reason they are so obvious, so easy to see, is partly because there do seem to be a number of them. At this distance, it's hard to gauge how many, but certainly at least half a dozen. And also, slightly towering above them are 2 figures on horseback as part of this group.
Oh, are there now? Okay.
From this distance, can I notice anything in particular, like particularly about the two people on horseback?
Would you like to make me an observation notice?
Sure.
Roll?
I will. Okay, so that's observation. That's notice. Okay, standard.
Yep.
Okay.
For this kind of thing, it's going to be more based on how many successes you get than on how high the difficulty is.
Sure. Well, that. Goodbye, dice. That is 5 successes.
Okay, so based on the distance at this stage, that's probably a success target of about 3. So that's giving you 2 extra successes. So 3 is enough to pick out some detail, and then a little bit more detail for the extra 2 successes. So first off, the detail that you can pick out by rolling 3 is that this seems to be an armed party. The men on foot seem to have mostly spears, although you're not 100% certain in some cases that you're seeing a spear and not possibly instead a pitchfork. The 2 men on horseback both appear to be armed as well, and one of them, it's hard to see exactly at this distance, but there is a glint of one of them that makes you suspect he may actually be wearing a male shirt, which is extremely uncommon. And then I'll give you one more thing because you get an extra success. Yeah, I think the other thing that you will notice is that the other rider, not the one in mail, but the one next to him, seems to have spotted your group, even though you're at quite a distance. Because as you're sort of peering at them, he raises his hand and points towards your group, pointing you out to the other rider.
I mean, it's not like we've got any cover or that we're sneaking, so yeah.
No, it's just there's a very few of you at quite a long distance, and you're going to see them first, but they've spotted you.
Yeah. Joan's going to draw her large knife, but keep it lying along her forearm, basically.
Okay.
So it's not going to be obvious she's got it out.
Yeah. So you're not looking aggressive in any way, but you are armed.
Ezra just very subtly readjusts their bandages and tightens up their bracer. Just
okay.
Corwin says, "Well, this has all the looks of a hunting party."
Let's hope
Question
they're
is,
not
are they
Seeing
hunting
the preparations going on
humans
around
or
him, your
beasts?
brother will string his bow at this point, but he won't actually knock an arrow to it.
No, that's cool.
My bow has been strung since the bridge because we are on guard duty. So and I suspect my bow is probably of a slightly higher quality and can take that.
This is just the bog standard.
So we will proceed. Like we're not making any effort to hide or anything like that. We are just going to keep proceeding down the road until we encounter them.
Not being any, not being very aggressive, just ready in case they are.
You carry on moving forward. They carry on moving towards you. Bebius does not take any particular precautions as a result of this. He's been kind of staying in the middle of the group.
And that's the thing. We're keeping him central.
He doesn't hide at the back or anything. He stays roughly where he was in the middle of the group. And as you are approaching this group and more details become obvious, you can confirm your previous observations that these look again like farm worker types, the guys on foot. Some of them have got spears. A couple of them have got pitchforks instead. You even see here and there among them, and there are 7 of them on foot. A couple of them you can even see have a short sword belted to their waists, which is not the most common thing in the world.
No.
The 2 men on horseback, one of them is indeed wearing a male shirt over... it's hard to say because he's got a male shirt over the top of it, but you suspect slightly better quality clothing than the rest of them. You're largely taking this from the hat that he is wearing. Yeah. He's not wearing a helm, he is wearing a hat. But that hat is, it's quite fashionable, you suppose, and reasonably good quality. You haven't really seen anyone else wearing anything more than just a baggy felt thing that they might call a hat, but this one looks like somebody actually put some work into it. The man next
this is
to
an
him,
actual chapeau.
Yeah.
The man next to him on the other horse is wearing a leather jerkin. Neither of the two riders is carrying a spear, but you can see that both of them have a short sword belted to their waist. And as you are taking these details in, the man in mail, he stands up in his stirrups, looks like he's looking to get a better view rather than that he's about to do anything, and suddenly calls out, "Bebius, my friend, you are a sight for sore eyes and the first good news I've had in days. Some creature has been taking livestock from my land, and these superstitious Garedrosali will call anything they do not see with their own eyes as the work of a demon. I do not know that the creature came this way, but I knew that you might be coming along this road. If I met neither of you, nothing would be lost. If I met you, I might protect a friend." And I think that is where we are going to call it for the day, and we can have the proper meeting with Bebius's friend Amius next session.
I'll make my knife disappear, I suppose.
Ezra
Before they get here.
breathes. They kind of stopped when they saw the short swords, and when you hear hear that bit of their backstory, you'll know why.
I think, it felt it was 50-50 Bebius's friend or Jorel and Jorel and the other one.
Yes.
For Ez's edification, you have a feeling that the reason there are so many short swords here may well be that some of these guys are ex-Legion.
So these are familiar short swords at that.
Yeah. Certainly Bebius and Amius are both Lundman. If he's hiring Lundmans to come with him, there's a good chance that the ones with short swords brought them with them when they left the legions.
So familiar short swords at that. So yeah.
Familiar short swords at that, yes.
Ezra definitely stopped breathing for a moment. Just because they remember what those blades can do.
Okie dokie.
Okay, well, thank you all for playing once again. You will each of you will get an XP for the roleplay today. And we're starting to get into an area where you might actually earn XPs for doing things in the plot as well. Nice. Eventually, you'll get some proper experience points.
Is it 10 XPs to put something up a point?
Okay, the way it actually works is 1 XP acts as the equivalent of 1 use on a skill.
Gotcha.
So however many uses you need to put a skill up, which is based on the current rank of that skill, is how many XPs it would cost. So if you've got a low skill, if you've only got a skill of 1, then 1 XP is 1 use.
Right.
Which means that that's going up fairly quickly. If you've got a high skill, it's going up far more expensively. If you want to buy things like talents or powers, those are really expensive because the system was designed to discourage people from suddenly gaining new inherent abilities like night vision or talent. And those are 100 XP per character point. In character creation, you'd lose 1 die to get 1 character point. It's 100 XP in game and a justification for why you're doing it. But it can be done, and they can be purchased in piecemeal. So you can spend points, and when it hits 100, then get the thing for stuff like that.
I'm just wondering about. I've got 1 use on sleight of hand, and I have pickpockets 1. Sorry, I have prestidigitation with a specialism.
Let's have a look at making sure that I am remembering these mechanics correctly, because I don't want to do anything wrong. So skill enhancement. Okay. The comma's uses attract over the course of the campaign until they reach a number equal to the skill's rank. So if your skill is rank 1, then 1. At this point, the rank is increased by 0.1 and the use is cleared back to 0. So to get a whole skill rank would cost you 10 XP or 10 uses at this level. But it actually goes up in multiples of 0.1. So you'll get a 0.1 each time.
Right.
At level 1, you'll get a 0.1 every time you get a use. So I probably should have specified that if you've only got rank 1 in a skill and I give you a
Yeah.
use, immediately up it by 0.1 to whatever. And the 0.1s don't count until they reach a full point, except in some circumstances, I may again allow you to roll against that as being, 10 times that being the percentage chance of you getting an extra die. If you really need to push it and get the extra die, and you've got, say, 0.7 in a skill, I might give you a 70% chance of having that extra die for this roll only. But that doesn't normally happen, only when it's dramatically appropriate.
I currently have 0.1 in my sleight of hand.
Yeah. So
Okay, that's
XPs,
cool.
again, because they are equivalent to a use in these purposes, if you've got a 1 skill, then 1 XP will raise it by 0.1. Actually, let me check I'm remembering that correctly, because I think that's how it works. Rather than that you need less 0.1s. I'm sure, however, that it is that way around.
I think it sounds about right, unless you've done something drastic and changed it.
So XP may be used to reduce the requirement for skill advancement by a single use per XP spent. In practice, this makes 1 XP equal to 1 use. There we go.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to bung all 4 of my XPs into my detect noise.
Yeah, the important distinction is that you can't use them to buy uses. You can only use them to buy those 0.1 increases.
Oh, in that case, okay, fair enough.
So, for example, in this case, 1 use buys you a 0.1. So, hang on. Which skill are you upping? What's it at the moment?
It is currently, I have awareness, specialization, and perception at 3, but I've got a use on detect noise already.
Right. Okay. And your detect noise is currently 1 then because of the default thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would be able to spend for that. You'd be able to spend XP at the rate of 1 XP per 0.1 increase.
Right.
Because it only needs 1 use. If it needed, say you were increasing the main skill at 3 and you'd need 3 uses to do it, you couldn't spend the XP to buy 2 uses and then wait until you get a use to increase it again. You'd have to hang on to the XP, and then if you gained 1 use, you could then spend the 2 XP to make up the difference of what you don't have. But you can't bank them in a skill in advance is essentially what I'm saying.
So if I'm using them to buy uses, then for my level 1 detect noise, if I spent the 4 XPs I've got and the
That
1
would be
use that's already
0.4.
sat in there, that would give me 0.5.
That would give you 0.5, 1 from the use, which you should gain immediately anyway. And each of the others would be the same thing. You would be... What they do is they reduce the requirement rather than buying a use. So effectively, you spend 1 XP, and instead of needing 1 use, you need 0 uses, so it suddenly goes up.
Okay.
If you see what I mean.
Yeah, I think we may have to negotiate when you rewrite this rule book.
Yeah.
We may have to clarify this.
How did I
just to
actually phrase
avoid
it
confusion.
in the core rule book? Because I don't think I'm explaining it very well here. But right.
Alright.
In practice, this makes 1 XP equal to 1 use, but they may not be used to buy uses and never alter the number of uses a character has. Rather, they allow the character to act as if he had enough uses to advance a skill normally.
Gotcha. So yeah, my ship handling, in fact, is 1.1 as well.
Yeah. Anything
I've
you
got
get a
a use
use
for that
on
in
that
the
is only at
conversation.
rank 1 will immediately go to 0.1. And then obviously 10 uses under those circumstances, and you've got a 0.2 skill. That's the primary way of increasing skills in this game. The XPs are there just so that you can speed the process up, really, whatever it is that you're working on. Or, obviously, use them if you've got enough XP, use them to increase a skill you haven't managed to earn any uses in.
Yeah. So, yes, another 5 uses of 5 XP, and my detect noise goes to 2.
Yes, indeed.
Although, frankly, I think my sleight of hand needs more help because it's at 0.1.
Yeah, if you have no skill in something, then it works as if you had each one use is a 0.1.
That's how
So
I've done
it will
it,
gradually go up. It gets a little bit wafty slightly as to whether you're improving the core skill, so the main skill or the default skill. I'm kind of allowing that to be your choice. I should have probably specified this before. So if you use a skill as a default, you at a high difficulty, you can either add that use to the specialization that you're actually rolling, or to the specialization you're defaulting from. So, for example, in the case of your detect noise and notice, wasn't it, that you're talking about here? So if you do a difficult detect noise, instead of potentially starting to increase your detect noise, you could choose to apply that use, to add that use to notice instead, because that's your main skill. I'm
or
okay
awareness,
with that.
which is mine, yeah.
Or awareness, yeah.
So I could add the 0.1, in fact, to my prestidigitation pickpockets instead of sleight of handing it.
Yes, you could if you wish to.
But would that mean that you would need that like a higher?
Well, it wouldn't be it wouldn't be a 0.1 then. Of course, it would be a use, and you'd need more uses.
It would be a 0.1 because I have pickpockets at 1.
Okay.
Oh right.
That's why
okay.
it defaults to
so
0.
in that case,
yeah.
In that case, yes. If you want to add that to that use to pickpockets and put it to 0.1, you are welcome to do it that way around instead.
Yeah, I would do that.
It's largely up to you. You can choose to broaden out your skills by applying those uses to the thing that you're not actually trained in and that you're defaulting on, or you can just say, no, I want to focus on my main thing and I'll apply these uses to that.
Okay.
But obviously, the skills you don't have will progress quicker than the skills you do. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, really, and just how you want to handle your character.
I'd just like to be able to get up to an actual default instead of a maybe you get the default.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah.
In this instance, of course, it's going to be just as easy to increase the main skill. So you may as well increase the main skill and get the. It's more practical because you'll go to 2 points in that which gives you 1 point default, rather than 1 point in both of them, which doesn't give you any further default. It's definitely a more practical and economical way of doing it.
I need to start practicing my throwing then when we're camping or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I have throwing balanced blade, but only at 1.
Yeah.
So I think setting up targets and trying trick throws.
Yeah, it's things like the non-rotating style of throwing knives, that sort of thing. Shuriken, those kind of things. Unbalanced blade, obviously, is stuff like throwing an axe, which is a different technique where you're taking the spin of the weapon into account when you're throwing it. So hence they are different techniques.
Now I want to go up to, next time I'm in New York, I want to go to the place that I found in Central York that does it, which is called Game of Throws.
Nice.
I'm cursing the local place closed.
Yeah, that was really fun.
It was fun. Okay. That's looking a little bit healthier on the skills front. Tiny bit. Slightly.
It's going to take me a while to level up any of my skills. They're all 2 or higher.
I've got a few things still at 1, but yeah.
I am choosing to, on the transportation water, I already had small boats at 3, but I am upping my ship handling, which I got a use on. So that's now sitting at 1.1 to get me a better default.
This is not a game like say, D&D 5th edition, where you expect your characters to get dramatically quicker on a rapid basis. This is more.
I wouldn't be expecting that in D&D 5, to be quite honest, particularly compared to like 3.
Well, yeah, compared to 3 or Pathfinder, certainly. Now, this is the system is really geared more towards long-term campaigns. So the rate of advancement is relatively slow accordingly. It's more about adventuring for the adventure, for the potential rewards like gold or magic items or saving the day, and for the story aspects of the adventure. And I just find that games like D&D can shift the player's focus too much towards we're doing it for the XP. And it's never about I'm saving the village because the village needs saving, and more about I'm saving the village because I want to get to level 4. And I just find that somewhat disruptive. So I kind of push away from that style.
Fair.
Anyway. Yeah, thank you for playing. Does any of you have anything coming up that you want to alert people about on your streams?
God, what day is it?
And can anyone remind me how
It's
I give a
Tuesday.
shout out on Twitch these days?
/ shout out and then name
Yeah.
of
It is
the
just
channel.
/ shout out, is it? That's
Although
Yeah.
there are cooldown. I think there's a 30-second cooldown on use of the command or something
But
like that.
I'm in as a mod on yours, so
let's shout out Chrono Magistrate to begin with.
Thank you. Well, in which case then, yes, hi. For anyone who may not know, I am a chill variety streamer on my own channel. And I will be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. BST with the start of a new point-and-click adventure called Genesis Noir. I say new. It came out in 2021. But one from the backlog where we will be playing a literal star-crossed lover in the sense of we are back at the beginning of the universe where the Big Bang is a bullet fired at one of our paramours. And we have to jump through time and space to figure out how to save them or figure out the plot, figure out the mystery, basically. It's all in black and white. It looks gorgeous. It's been on my to play list for ages.
I'm not surprised. That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Whether it lives
cool.
up to that, we will see. But it was one of the indie gems from 2021, and it is getting a sequel later this year. So I thought this is a good time to get the first one out of the way. But aside from that, that will be my Wednesday game, and there may be the odd bonus stream. Probably not this week, but maybe next week at some point.
Oh yeah. Have you got Witcher and things coming?
Yes, I will be doing the Witcher. I should most likely be doing I will be doing final preparations for and possibly starting the final fight of the main story next week.
Oh.
Because I am currently on the quest, the Battle of Kaer Morhen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I should manage to get there next Sunday. If I don't do it before, I threatened a Wednesday evening stream, depending on what I do with my day tomorrow, because I am out of school, so I'm doing whatever the hell I want with my days, hence me being in Aberdeen yesterday, just because. So yeah, I should be doing that. So I'll be doing that either tomorrow after Chrono stream, and after I've had dinner, or on Sunday at 7 p.m.
Okay, and last but not least, Jessica, what have you got coming up?
Last very least, I think. Thursday at 7 o'clock. I am currently planning on starting Observer System Redux, which is a technically point and click adventure.
Yes, technically it is.
Technically, it kind of squeezes into that zone, but it kind of sits there looking awkward because it's along the lines of
Mindfell in game form.
It sits in the same sort of space for point and clicks as things like Under a Killing Moon. So the Tex Murphy games. So it's a combination of 3D movements and point and click elements within environments, and it's mindful in game form is a good point.
It really is.
Yeah, the original game was, I believe, I want to say 2016, but I have streamed most of it, but it was slightly janky because aging, and in 2020 it got a revamp, and so the Redux now looks a lot nicer. I mean, it always looked quite nice, and they have cleaned up some of the slightly buggy movements. So hopefully I will not be suffering from, I have not clicked there. Why have you registered? I have clicked there. What exactly is going on?
Hopefully some of those interiors will be a little less I want to say psychedelic, but that's not quite but will be a little less frazzling, because I remember you, particularly when navigating around some of the apartments, it became very awkward.
Yeah.
Oh dear, shall I have my pain medication ready?
Yes, could not see what was going.
There
could
are
not quite
definitely
see what was going on.
There were definitely visual issues aside from artifacting. As Reggie alluded to, it is a very trippy game in places. There is a little bit of unreality and dissociation that takes place as part of the storyline.
Certainly, as far as things like you have, because it's a cyberpunk game, the premise being that you are playing a detective who is capable of directly interfacing with murder victims and essentially reading their last moments, digging through their memories, which is why things can get very, very trippy. And there is a giant pigeon involved at some point. Please don't ask why, I cannot remember, but yeah, there's a giant pigeon next to a tattoo parlor.
And if there's any place for a giant pigeon,
as you do, but in the interface sections always did have that kind of scanline element as you were going in and out, and there were visual distortions within them, because essentially you're looking at information taken from dying brains, and that has been cleaned up a lot. They are still present, but you can at least see what the heck you're supposed to be looking at, which was not always the case. And also they have cleaned up the environments and the lighting in the quote real world elements a lot.
That's good.
So they are, I mean, it is still grimdark nasty, but it's grimdark nasty, but the neon is not necessarily melting your eyeballs, which there were elements in there before. And the detective is voiced by the late great Rutger Hauer, who lent his face and voice to the character. So yes, a detective
playing
capable
just
of
to hear
this
that
is
voice.
investigating. Yeah. Oh God, yes.
It
is
is
investigating
very
his
distinctive.
missing son in a cyberpunk Poland. The entire game being set within one apartment block with all sorts of weirdness.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Very much. I think it's a 15 rated. There is some gore, but it tends to be of the crime scene rather than active exploding all over your face, and some disturbing elements. So good times all round. But yes, I'm planning on starting that at 7 on Thursday.
Cool. So
I did shout out everybody. Oh, you shouted me out. That's cool.
I've shouted you out. Yes, everybody has been shouted out.
Yeah, I did earlier. So yeah.
Yeah, I know. I had already typed it in, and I was just about to hit enter, and it suddenly appeared, and I just thought, well, I won't enter it then.
Yes, it's almost like there's a mod in chat who can do shout outs.
Almost as if. So yeah, meanwhile, on this channel, I will be back next Monday with another Mapper Monday stream. I'm starting a new series on the channel, the first stream of which I did yesterday as an episode 0, in which I am taking a journey into solo RPG gaming, which means a very different thing now to what it did when I used to solo play Dungeons and Dragons years ago. So my first introductory session 0 was mostly me ranting about why I don't like modern solo RPG gaming, but I'm going to take an investigation into whether I can find a way of playing RPG solo that I like. And I'm going to start the next stream whenever I can find a room, find space for it. I'm going to start by playing a Fighting Fantasy game book or 2 on stream, and then move on from there into Advanced Fighting Fantasy, which is a nice, easy system that I reckon I can add solo play to
AFF
without too much hassle. And then we will take it from there. Once I'm more comfortable, we'll see what else I can do.
With AFF,
yes, if it comes to it.
No, go ahead, Brad, sorry.
I was just thinking, if it comes to it, I wouldn't mind corrupting that solo play in AFF. Possibly with a solo.
I certainly would not have any objections to perhaps playing some more traditional AFF here and there, maybe with the same character that I'm using for solo play, if I can keep it alive. And with AFF, I should be able to keep it alive, because the odds are very much in your favour with that system. You are heroes, and everything else is pretty wussy by comparison. I actually managed to beat the Warlock of Vital Mountain yesterday.
I know, I am jealous.
Which I was very happy with.
So you're...
In fairness, though, I had died horribly twice playing Bloodbone before trying Warlock, and then I moved. Then I had to go at Warlock instead, and I managed to beat that one.
Same death twice.
Yeah,
it was differently.
Was it only twice? Because I swear you did it 3 times at least.
No, I died horribly twice and decided to change book.
Do you have return to as well?
I do not yet, but I may well pick it up just to play on stream. I think what I'm probably going to start with on stream is Citadel of Chaos, which was the second Fighting Fantasy game. So going right back, and I played first as a practice, so I'll play second as on stream, and then probably jump ahead to City of Thieves, which is one of my favourites, and which also has a sequel. So if I can beat City of Thieves, I'll go into the sequel.
Which kind of brings me to the question I was going to ask about AFF. Would you be playing in Alancia? Would you be doing in the world of will you be playing in Titan basically?
Yeah, my preference. I said this on my my episode 0 stream. I think the only reason for creating a world specifically for your solo game is because you're making that your character the main character of the world, if you're building it around them, which leans into the solo gaming as a toolkit for creative writing or improvised drama, rather than what I want to do, which is solo gaming as a way of playing a game. So I'm happy to have a game world that's already created. I just want to jump into a world that's already created and just play adventures in it. So I would be using Titan indeed.
Cool. If you ever decide to do the Riddling Reaver, I will very eagerly tune in to see you play that.
I've got the Riddling Reaver. It's on my bookshelf somewhere. That was for the original Fighting Fantasy RPG rather than Advanced Fighting Fantasy. But
right.
I keep thinking that's a whole campaign for Fighting Fantasy. And monster stats in Fighting Fantasy and Advanced Fighting Fantasy are exactly the same. AFF only it upped the detail level for player characters, but it left monsters exactly the same. So that means that anything for Fighting Fantasy, including theoretically just one of the game books, can be run using the AFF rules. So who knows? If anybody wants to, I'd be happy to run Riddling Reaver for a group. Could be fun.
I was just looking. I have Black Sand, Titan, Beyond the Pits.
I had all of those. I no longer do, but they were those books were my first introduction.
Yeah.
First
This is for
introduction to
AFF.
RPGs. Yeah.
This is
I
actually
really
for
want
AFF.
to pick up Arion. Arion Games currently publish Advanced Fighting Fantasy, and they have got a deluxe edition of Advanced Fighting Fantasy, which I don't think would be a good purchase as a PDF, honestly. I've got the 3 books in PDF already, in addition to having my original copy of Dungeoneer on the shelf behind me, and my old copies of Beyond the Pit, of Out of the Pit, and Titan. But the deluxe Advanced Fighting Fantasy from Arion, which is available print on demand from Drive-Thru-RPG, is all 3 of those books in a single hardback. Nice. And I just want that on my shelf. That just sounds so cool.
Oh, I have the scenario for the Warlock of Firetop Mountain.
Yes, I think I've got that as well.
Yes.
Anyway.
Out of the Pit.
Rather than spending all night talking about AFF, we will end this stream at this point and say thank you for watching, whether you have been with us today in chat, enjoying this journey, or whether you have watched it on POD. You are always welcome, and we are very grateful for your views. Do follow if you're not already doing so, if you're interested and want to see more. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can see the playlist filling, or indeed jump over to Leashing Bar Guests on Twitch to follow us live. And until we next play, may your dice be hot and your characters cool.